The perfect revenge. At 17, Jacob was on top of the world. The most popular girl at school, Chloe Adams, had agreed to go to prom with him. For a quiet, awkward kid who loved to cook more than sports or parties, this felt like a fairy tale. Chloe was everything he wasn't: confident, charming, and effortlessly beautiful. Everyone knew her, and now, everyone would know him. The night of prom, Jacob stood outside the high school gym in a sharp black suit, his hair carefully gelled. He clutched a corsage nervously, waiting for Chloe to arrive. She finally pulled up in a sparkling car, stepping out in a shimmering red dress. She looked like a goddess. "Chloe." Jacob beamed, extending his arm. But Chloe didn't take it. Instead, she smirked, her glossy lips curling cruelly. "Oh, Jacob," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Did you really think I'd go to prom with you?" Laughter erupted around them. Jacob froze, the corsage slipping from his fingers onto the pavement. Chloe sauntered past him into the gym, linking arms with one of the football players, leaving him humiliated and heartbroken. A decade of determination. That night, Jacob ran home in tears, vowing never to let anyone make him feel like that again. He buried himself in his studies, aced his culinary school exams, and turned his love of cooking into a thriving career. By the time his 28th birthday rolled around, Jacob owned 3 high-end restaurants in the city, each a roaring success. His name was synonymous with quality dining, and his bank account reflected his hard work. But while he had built a culinary empire, Jacob had avoided relationships. The sting of Chloe's betrayal lingered, fueling his drive, but keeping him distant from love. Then one day, a fancy, gold-embossed envelope arrived at his office. It was an invitation to his 10-year high school reunion. For a moment, Jacob debated tossing it in the trash. But then he thought of Chloe, and a sly smile crept across his face. He RSVP'd yes. The reunion. The reunion was held at a local banquet hall. Jacob arrived late, stepping into the crowded room with quiet confidence. He was no longer the shy, awkward boy people remembered. His tailored suit hugged his athletic frame, and his sharp jawline caught more than a few lingering glances. Almost immediately, he spotted Chloe. She was sitting at the bar, sipping a cheap cocktail. The years hadn't been kind to her. Her once radiant beauty was now overshadowed by exhaustion. Her hair was limp, her makeup barely concealing the lines of stress. She was surrounded by pictures of her 3 kids, proudly showing them off to uninterested classmates. When Chloe saw Jacob, her eyes lit up. "Jacob," she exclaimed, her voice a mix of surprise and excitement. She hurried over, her heels clicking against the floor. "Chloe," Jacob said coolly, a polite smile on his lips. "You look amazing," she gushed, her voice dripping with flirtation. "I heard about your restaurants. That's incredible. I always knew you'd do great things." Jacob chuckled. "Did you?" Chloe blushed, waving off the comment. "Listen," she said, placing a hand on his arm, "I'm single now. Things didn't work out with my ex. Maybe we could catch up? You know, like old times." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "Old times? You mean when you humiliated me in front of the whole school?" Chloe laughed nervously. "Oh, come on, Jacob. That was just high school stuff. We were kids." Jacob pretended to consider her words before nodding. "All right. Let's catch up. Dinner tomorrow?" Chloe's face lit up. "I'd love that. The perfect setup." The next evening, Jacob picked Chloe up in a sleek black car. She dolled herself up, trying desperately to recapture her former allure. She chattered excitedly on the drive, reminiscing about high school and dropping hints about her struggles as a single mother. Jacob brought her to one of his restaurants, though he didn't tell her he owned it. Chloe's eyes widened as they stepped inside the elegant dining room. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and soft jazz played in the background. Wow, Jacob, Chloe said, impressed. This place is amazing. I thought you'd like it, Jacob said with a sly grin. They were seated at a prime table, and Jacob ordered a lavish spread: oysters, filet mignon, vintage wine. Chloe ate with gusto, clearly enjoying the high-end experience. The twist. When the dessert course arrived, Jacob excused himself. I'll be right back, he said, leaving Chloe alone at the table. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. Chloe began to fidget, looking around for Jacob. When the waiter arrived with the check, she smiled awkwardly. Oh, Jacob will be back any second. The waiter frowned. Ma'am, your date left. He said you'd take care of this. Chloe's jaw dropped. He what? The waiter handed her the bill, well over $500. Chloe's face turned beet red. She fumbled in her purse, pulling out a credit card with trembling hands. The victory. Jacob watched from across the street, leaning against his car with a satisfied smirk. He saw Chloe emerge from the restaurant, her face a mixture of humiliation and fury. She didn't notice him as she stomped to the curb, muttering under her breath. It had taken him 10 years, but the moment was worth it. Chloe had been the queen of his high school nightmares, but now, the tables had turned. He slid into his car, humming a tune as he drove off into the night, leaving the past and Chloe far behind.